Hi, welcome to Fix Home Network. Today I will show you how to set up Linksys EA8300 wireless router. Linksys EA8300 wireless router is a tri-band wireless router. It has 3 bands that will deliver fastest combined Wi-Fi speeds to more devices. In this video, I will show you how to set up this wireless router without installation CD or smart setup wizard. We will also see what is the default password of Linksys EA8300 wireless router. Also, guest network access setup, how to set up guest network access for this router, and how to upgrade the firmware of this wireless router. So let's start with the initial installation of this wireless router. First, you will need to connect your internet modem to the internet or WAN port on the Linksys router. Also, connect your main computer to one of the 4 Ethernet ports on this router. There are 4 Ethernet ports on this router. These are Ethernet ports for local area network. So connect your computer to one of the 4 ports on this router. I also have another video which will show you how to connect modem and computer to the Linksys router. Now, once you connect the modem and computer to the router, we will need to open the setup page of the Linksys router. Open the Internet Explorer or Internet browser on your computer. It could be Firefox, Safari, or any other internet browser on your computer. In the address bar, type in the number 192.168.1.1. This is the default IP address of Linksys router. Hit enter. It will ask you for the username and password. Admin is the default password of this Linksys router. So leave the username blank and in the password type in admin. If that doesn't work, then type in admin in the username and admin in the password. See if you can open the Linksys router page. If for some reason you're not able to open the Linksys router page using this default password, then password of your router might be changed. So you need to reset the router to the factory default settings. Remember, once you reset the router, it will come back to the factory default settings and you will lose all the settings of this router. So press and hold the reset button on the router for 15 seconds. Release the reset button. Unplug the power cable to the router and plug it back in. Wait for 30 seconds. Now try to access the setup page again using the same IP address 192.168.1.1. Type in the password admin and it will open the setup page of this Linksys router. Now all these steps are there on my website. You can visit the link that is in the description box and you will see all those steps on the website also. Now you have opened the setup page of the Linksys router. This is how the setup page of Linksys router, the Linksys EA8300 wireless router will look like. Now this is the second version of this setup, so you may have different setup page also. So this is basically the front page of the setup page. Now first we will need to change the internet connection settings of this router. So here you will see connectivity. Click on connectivity. Now here you will see internet settings. Go to internet settings. Now we will discuss about 3 types of internet connections. The first one will be cable internet service provider. The second one will be DSL internet service provider with PPPoE, and the third one will be static IP address. Alright, so let's start with the cable internet service provider. Now here you will see on the internet settings page MAC address clone. Click on enable. Then click on clone my PC's MAC and then click on apply. So these are the internet settings for cable internet service provider. Now for the DSL internet service provider with PPPoE connection, you will see this type of internet connection. Change this type of internet connection to PPPoE. Then type in the username and password given by your internet service provider. So it may be an email address given by your internet service provider and the password, right? And then click on apply. These are the settings for the DSL. For the static IP address type, change the type of internet connection to static IP. Now enter the IP addresses given by your internet service provider. So you will need the internet IP address, the subnet mask, the default gateway, DNS1, DNS2, and then enter all the settings and click apply at the bottom. So this will change the static IP address. So these are the basically the internet settings of the router. Once you change the internet settings, your router will be able to connect to the modem. So the modem and the router will talk to each other, and your main computer will be able to access the internet through the router. So we are done with the internet settings of this router. Now let's change the wireless settings of this router. Here you will see the icon of wireless. Click on the wireless tab or the icon. Now this is a tri-band router. The band steering you see there, you can just turn it off. You will see 3 different bands: 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz 1, 5 gigahertz 2. Now you can change the name of your wireless network and then change the password. If you want, you can keep the same network name and the password for all the networks, but I would suggest you to change the name of the network to be different. So 2.4 gigahertz will be different, 5 gigahertz will be different, so you will be able to identify which new network you are trying to connect. So if this is the 2.4 gigahertz, just change it to something. Then for 5 gigahertz, change it to something different, and the 5 gigahertz second, change it to something different. So these are the 3 different networks, and you can change the password. You can keep the same passwords for all 3 networks, so you don't need to remember all 3 different passwords. Here you have an option to turn off that particular band. If you want to change, or if you want to turn off 5 gigahertz second band, you can just tap this and it will turn off the second or the third band. So this is how you can manage your wireless network. All right, so you have changed the wireless network settings. If you have any wireless computer, go to your wireless computer and try to connect to the wireless network. So you will see one of the 3 networks. You can connect to any one of the 3 networks of this wireless router. All right, now the next section will be guest network access setup. How to set up guest network on this router. Now this is an advanced wireless router, and it has guest network settings. So if you have any guests coming in, you can allow them to connect to the wireless network, and it is a separate network that will not interfere with your main network, and guests will be able to access internet, and they have limited access. So on the setup, you will see guest access. Go to guest access, turn it on. Now change the network name, or it will automatically change the network name. Whatever your network is, it will add -guest. Then it is enabled. Here it is. You can click on edit. If you want to change the name, you can change it. 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, 2 different networks. You can enable any one of them, and this is the password. So if you want, you can change the password. So definitely you have 2 different guest networks to access, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. You can enable or disable any one of them, and the guest will be able to connect to any one of the guest networks, and you can just provide them the password. And here is the number of guests that you want to control. If you want 10, you can change it to 10 guests. So only 10 guests will be able to connect to the wireless network, the guest network, and simply click on OK. All right, so these are the guest network settings. Now on this router, there are different wireless settings, or there are many different network settings like parental control. Here you can enable the parental control, and you can restrict some websites or computers from accessing the network. How to check the speed of this network or this router. Here it will show you the speed of your router. or the network. Here is an option to check the settings of external storage connected to the wireless router. Here are all the settings of this external storage for your router. Alright, now let's move on to the next section. What is the default password of this Linksys EA8300 wireless router? As I said earlier, the default password of this router is admin. Leave the username blank. If that doesn't work, then try admin in the username and admin in the password also. So this is the basic default password of this router. Now how to change the password of the router? You have the setup page of the router open. Let's go to connectivity tab, and here you will see the option router password. You can simply edit, type in the current password and the router password hint, and just save it, and it will save the password, or it will change the password of this wireless router. Now let's move on to the next section, how to upgrade the firmware of this router. First of all, you will need to download the latest firmware of this router from the internet. Go to the Linksys website, that is www.linksys.com, and look for the firmware of your router, EA8300 wireless router. Now download the firmware file and save it on your computer. While upgrading the firmware of your computer must be hooked up to the router with the Ethernet cable. Do not try to upgrade the firmware using wireless network or wireless router or wireless computer. So connect your computer to the router with the Ethernet cable and open the setup page of the router. On the connectivity tab, on the same tab, you will see the option firmware. Here you can check this box and check for update. It will check if there is any update available. And if you want to do it manually, click on choose file, choose the file that you have downloaded, the firmware file, and click on start. It will start upgrading the firmware of the router. So this is how you can upgrade the firmware of this router. Alright, so that's it for Linksys EA8300 wireless router setup. If you have any questions, you can please leave comment on this video, or you can go to our website and leave comment on the website. There is a link given in the description box. Just check the link and we will try to answer your queries as soon as possible. So thanks for watching.